Welcome back, guys. So this is a video on me fabricating a 65mm hockey MIG welding. So what you can see there in that last little intro piece, this is me fabricating a bend onto the pipe. So I'm making sure it's level, I'm tacking it on. As you can see, there we are. I've put my final tack on and I do 4 tacks all the way around. So you're basically holding it in place, so when you come to weld it, it won't move anywhere. So now you come to grinding it, and I've got to thin them tacks really low, so I've got to feather them tacks right down. So when I come to put my root in, it penetrates straight through. So I just want you to have a look at that. I'm actually, with my grinding disc, my 5mm grinding disc, I'm prepping it already. So I'm putting a bevel on the side of the pipe to just thin it out a bit more. So when it comes to rooting it, as you will see in a minute, there we go, setting myself up for the root. Now I started my G-clamp underneath the pipe so I can get full rotation, and I know I can turn the pipe all the way around. So I rooted this on about 150 amps. I'm pointing up about 12 o'clock. I tried to aim for about 12 o'clock, but there I was more pointing towards inside the pipe, like square on, because I had a thin gap and I was trying to blow through easier with the thinner bevel I put on. So you can see there's no gap there now. I'm putting the root in and I'm staying nice and steady. No jerkiness, no sudden movements. I'm trying to stay so smooth with it. You want that going in like candy floss. So I come to cleaning it up. I will need to smoothen this out now because I want my cap to go on nice and lovely. So I will end up V'ing this out a little bit. I just want you to take a look at this again. As you can see, I'm staying nice and steady with the grinder, nice and smooth all the way around. You don't want it looking like a rat's fucking chewed it. And when I mean by a rat's chewed it, you don't want no sharp edges or rough patches. You want it just lovely and smooth. So when you sit your gun on top, meaning your MIG gun, it goes on like cake icing, lovely and beautiful. That's how we want it around here. So I grab my linisher, sanding pad, other people may call this a different thing, and I'm just taking the paint off the sides, just so when my cap goes to sit on the sides, it just arcs really nice. No spatter, no mess everywhere, no pigeon poo. Now I want you to look at this from my angle. That is workable now. That's nice and smooth. So when I come to put my cap on like I am right now, it will go round lovely and beautiful. No messing about, no fighting it, because the last thing you want to be doing is fighting your MIG gun. You just can't stress it enough. Presentation and prep, those 2 words there mean everything to me. If your prep's beautiful, should I say, if your fabrication's beautiful, you're not going to go wrong. That is the key you want, and your presentation will come with your fabrication. Because as soon as you start trying to cut corners and you want to go faster in other places, it don't work. You want to stick to your basics, and then when you get better, you can adapt on your basics. That's how I started. I went through the stage of trying to cut corners and it got me nowhere, and I learnt the hard way, unfortunately. So now the butt's welded, I'm hanging my flange on the far end, not on the bend just yet, because I need that bend to work a level off for this flange. Because if I hang that flange on the other bend, it makes it more awkward for me. So as you can see, the camera's just zooming in here. You can see I've got a level just on them bolt holes, and that level there has to match the bend, because if it doesn't, you're in a lot of problems. You have to get it bang on. So now I'm leveling the flange on the far end, and that level needs to match the same level on the pipe. So when I mean that level, sorry, the level on the flange, what I've got my hand on right there, needs to match that level on the pipe, because when that bolts in, if the level's not the same, your pipe's going to be wonky to the flange. So everything you work off the pipe is your baseline level. So anything that goes onto the pipe has to match the pipe. Pretty common sense stuff, really. Now I've turned the flange, so I'm leveling the other way now. So like again, your pipe is your baseline. There we go. And I'm just checking that. And I always use a rubber mallet on metal fittings because you don't want to be denting it with a metal hammer, because you'll end up putting digs in the flanges, and if you've got digs in the flanges, especially the boss, you could potentially have the whole piece coming back, because it's no good for when a pipe fitter has to pipe it up. So now I'm coming to the flange on the bend. So when I like to do this one, because I've got hardly any pipe to work with, I will like level the flange as I tack the first tack on, so it makes it less awkward. So I'm basically leveling the flange one way already, and the bolt holes are level already. So you always do the bolt holes no matter what, but I'm leveling the face of the flange already level to the other bolt holes on the far end. And the tack just pulls a little bit there. Now with that tack pulling a bit, 9 times out of 10 tacks do usually pull on flanges, but it's always best to try and resist it a bit with your hands, because a flange can end up going really pissed out. So with that tack pulling, I'm just checking these bolt holes here. So as you can tell, this flange on the bend is a tad bit out. So what I would do is put my big level on and just check and try and force it with my fingers a little bit. And when I've found that position with my fingers, I will tack it to hold it in place, because once that's tacked, that is not moving nowhere at all. As I've said, it's so crucial to get things level in this game. Sorry, in this industry, should I say. Because if something's out, a lot of stuff's going to be out. It's not going to bolt in nice, and you're going to get people looking at your work, and you get a bad name and a bad rep. So that flange needed to match them bolt holes. Now it does. I put the level on the pipe, spin the flange around like I have, and level it to the pipe again. So this is the other direction now it's being leveled. Now, you've always got to remember this, because it's so easy. When you've got multiples of these to do, if you're not on the ball, it's so easy to forget to level something. And the reason you put 4 tacks on, and as you notice, I put them on the outside. And the reason for being this, let me just hold on in 2 seconds. So as you can see, I've tacked it on the outside. So one on the outside, and then another one on the outside. And the reason for doing this is that when you come to weld the inside, let's say you had 4 tacks on the inside and the flange is level, and you've tacked it, it's level, it's bang on. So if you welded the inside first with 4 tacks on the inside, you're going over your tacks to like that are supposed to be holding it level, and you've got nothing on the outside holding it, so you're probably going to get an unlevel flange. I have tested it, and it's a real thing. I didn't believe it when I was told it, but it's a real myth. Should I say it's a real fact. So I always put them on the outside, so when I come to doing my first run, they're going to hold the weld on the inside, because you always weld a flange on the inside first, you never weld it on the outside. And this is me welding on the outside. I start underneath the bend. I'm really sorry for the quality of this, because I need to find a way around this really to get a better quality for you guys when I'm pulsing. Like when I mean pulsing, I mean capping or flanging. Well, welding flanges. So this is me doing the outside, and I always do this in one run, and usually on about 260 amps I downhand this flange on. And this is the easiest part, I believe, anyway. I believe the inside's harder to get, a lot neater. But always remember, like I said, always weld the inside first. And again, with the tacks, I always tack outside, never inside. I don't even want to put 2 on the inside. 1 in the inside, minimal. Absolute, the minimal is 1 in the inside. So now we're on the other end. I'm welding the inside of the flange first, and I start higher. Reason being is because my earth is in the way, and I want to do it in one run. So I start literally at 12 o'clock, come all the way down to 6, then start rolling. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen me already rolling flanges and stuff like that on some old videos, but I still want to show you guys, because for people who haven't seen. So you may think my earth that's in the bolt holes is a bit high. I've actually got it set up with a stand to stop any sudden movements or any jerkiness, because the MIG welder, if the earth's starting to jump around, or things are loose and it's not tightened off nice, or there's no like tension in the wire, it can play up, like your amps can jump around, and I always leave a stand, like I said, underneath my earth, so it stays nice and stiff, and I have it bolted into my bolt holes. As you can see, my amps are not moving. Like if you see in the top left there, the 200 and something, 220, 219, staying around there. If I had no stand and I was welding that loose, it would be jumping a lot more aggressive. So we're coming to the end of the video now, and here's my final presentation. As you can see, I think the welds come out quite nice. There you are. And guys, as I've said, subscribe for more. I want to hear from you a lot more.